This is the Uptick Network Stock Day Podcast, sponsored by InvestorsHangout.com. Penny stock news and interviews from the microcap world. Public information on OTC, pink sheets, and microcap stocks from around the world. With your host, Everett Jolly.
On today's show, we have a very exciting guest. I've been trying to get in touch with this guy for a long time. Finally, my executive producer, Hallie Menig, has got in touch with him. He is Joey Parsi. He is the CEO of Giggles N Hugs. Giggles N Hugs, well, they operate a kid-friendly restaurant with play areas for children around the age of 10 years or younger. The company owns and operates restaurants in the Westfield Mall and in Century City. Joey, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, Everett.
I want to give a little bit of disclaimer. I currently own 80,000 shares of this company. Again, they trade on the OTC markets under the ticker symbol GIGL. So give us a little bit about statement, where you guys are at and where you guys are going. I'm sure that my listeners are just giddy to have you on the program, and they want to hear what you have to say.
Sure. Over the past few weeks, I've seen some significant activity with our stock, and we've gotten tons and tons of investors out there that have written us emails inquiring about updates with the company. So I thought rather than put out a press release, we would speak with you guys. So that we could sort of update everyone on some of the things that we've been working on over the past 6, 8, 10 months since our last announcement. I also want to make sure that everyone is aware that the 80,000 shares that you own, you do so only because you purchased those shares on your own. It was not compensation for anything. It is simply because you decided that you like the company and decided to buy shares. Am I correct there, Everett?
That is absolutely correct.
Okay. So let me give you some updates. As everyone knows, before we even get started in regards to the update, I want to make sure a couple of the questions have popped up recently that I wanted to make sure that I addressed immediately. A few investors had asked, why are the sales of the company lower this year versus last year? And I want to make sure that we clarify the reasons behind that. About 8-10 months ago, Westfield, which is the third largest mall owner in the country, and where we have two of our locations, or we had two of our locations, decided to go into a massive renovation and remodel of one of our premier locations here in Beverly Hills, California. It's called the Century City Mall. They decided to spend over $800 million to renovate and remodel that facility. And in doing so, they demolished over 90% of the mall. And so what was left or remained was basically 14 tenants out of over 350 tenants. And so we obviously were very upset about this because, the reasons why we wanted to be in this mall is because of the, exciting things that were going on there, the amount of people that were coming through there. And with the demolition, the mall had become a war zone. And although Westfield did not have to do anything about it because they have a right to do whatever they want to their malls, including renovating and demolishing it, even though they didn't have to do this, Westfield came to us and said, look, we know that you guys are looking to do future locations with us. We would like to have a good relationship with you. As a result, they came to us and decided to buy out our lease. As a result, we closed that particular location down and sold the lease back to Westfield. We only had about 3 years left on the lease anyway, so we thought it was the best thing because we're still talking another 1.5 to 2 years of construction before that mall reopens. I can tell you when it does reopen, it's going to be one of the premier malls in the world, if not in the country.
Wow.
I should say, yeah, it's going to be incredible. So, but until then, we thought it's best for the company to sell the lease back to Westfield, and then we can revisit the mall once it's all finished and final, and figure out a way to get back in there if we want to get back in there. So I want to make sure that I clarify the reason for the lower sales that you see is not because the company is doing worse. In fact, our sales for the remaining locations were higher this year based on the last quarters than they were the previous year. So year over year, we're up about 7%, if I remember correctly. Our margins are higher, our expenses are lower. So overall, in every metric, practically, we've done substantially better this year than we did last year. So I want to make sure that I address that and put that behind us. Now, let's discuss some updates and specifics. As many of your audience knows, we are in a very enviable position in that what we bring to the malls are foot traffic. With the amount of birthday parties that we do, and we've become sort of the it spot in Los Angeles, at least, for birthday parties and outings for families in general. We're the only true restaurant that has a play area in the middle of the restaurant, thereby allowing parents to eat some great, delicious, organic, healthy gourmet food for the kids and adults, while the parents are able to sort of relax and get on their phones and check Facebook or talk amongst themselves and have a conversation in peace. The kids are being entertained and playing inside the play area, which is called custom made, and you guys can go to the website and check out some of the pictures and videos. But we've become the it place in town, and as a result, many people hold their birthday parties here, including some of the biggest celebrities that you all have heard of.
I saw that.
I don't want to get into any specific names. Just go to our website. Put in Giggles and Hugs and celebrities, and you'll see a slew of the top A-list celebrities in the country that we count as our clients. As a result of this foot traffic, the malls love us. With more and more of us now shopping online and on Amazon, less and less people are visiting the malls. And as you all know, the lifeblood of the mall business is foot traffic. The more people that visit a mall, the more money they spend in that mall, the higher the rents they can charge to the tenants, and as a result, the higher the value that mall becomes. And so, with declining foot traffic for these landlords, they're looking for ways to replenish that. How do we figure out a way to physically get people to come to our mall? Well, one of the easiest ways is to bring in Giggles and Hugs. With our parties, each location brings in over 10,000 individuals to the malls per month, and so for the landlords, that's gold. And so as a result of that, they literally have been and are continuing to roll out the red carpet for Giggles and Hugs in a way where I don't know if I've ever seen other companies, particularly our size, get the type of deals that we're getting or seeing from these landlords. I'll speak about the existing locations. We got over half of the funds necessary to build out each of our locations from the landlord. And they don't have to do that, but they are because, again, they want to make it as attractive for us to get into their malls because they want our foot traffic. So they look at us as a partner. In fact, upon opening in Century City, Westfield came to us and sort of opened up their entire portfolio of malls and offered the same type of deals for us to look at and pick and choose from. So we have Westfield literally offering us hundreds of thousands of dollars per location to go into their malls. And the same is true with General Growth Properties, which offered us over $500,000 in cash. Actually, I think it was $450,000 in cash that they literally handed us, and then give us an additional loan to cover the additional cost and amortize that loan over the 10-year term of the lease. So our Glendale location cost us nothing to build because we got the money from General Growth Properties. We're now seeing, in terms of future expansion, we're now seeing the landlords giving us, in fact, recently we received a LOI from a mall owner, which I cannot mention at this time, I cannot name at this time, but a mall owner in the San Francisco area, which is where we're looking at for our next location, has offered us the entire cost, over $1.4 million of allowances to get into that mall. So that pays for the entire cost of each location, which typically costs around $1.2, $1.3 million. So this landlord in San Francisco is literally paying for us to open up our next location. If we achieve what we're looking for in terms of the deal parameters, then we will sign that lease and move forward imminently. So we're working on that, and as that becomes more to the final finish line, we'll make sure we put out a press release to announce that. But these are the kind of deals that we're now seeing, whereby the landlords are not just providing us cash, but they're providing us the entire cash we're going to need for future expansion. Hopefully that will be a trend. So far we've seen that from one landlord, but hopefully we'll see that from everyone else that we're talking to. We are also looking at locations in Seattle, and in particular, anywhere where there is extreme weather. You could look at anywhere on the East Coast and see what the weather is like right now. If you can imagine, if you're a parent with children, small children, toddlers, what do you do when it's 8 degrees outside and 4 feet of snow? Well, you're going to have to go places like Giggles N Hugs, because you're going to go crazy if you stay home every day. And so we think by being in markets where there is more extreme weather, unfortunately Southern California up until this past couple of weeks hadn't seen rain in years. For us, being in a climate where, you know, it's beautiful and sunny every day has been a negative. Because when it's beautiful and sunny, people tend to do their birthday parties at home in the backyard or at the park. So for us to have more extreme weather, rain, cold, extreme heat, snow, for us is a godsend. Typically during rainy days, our business is double what it is during regular sunny days. So for us, we're looking at expansion into markets where we see more rain, colder weather, and that's why we're looking at areas like Seattle, San Francisco, Arizona, and across the East Coast. So hopefully in the days, weeks, months to come, we'll have some announcements about that expansion. Our goal, Everett, is to put up another 6, 8, 10 company-owned locations and then open up the floodgates of franchising.
Is that 6 or 8 locations in 2017 or past that?
Well, I don't want to put a time limit on us. You know, it all depends on the capital. If I had the capital today to open up 20 locations, we would do it. It all depends upon when we get the capital. So we'll see. We're talking with a number of investment banks out there right now. If we can secure the right type of financing, then you know, the world is our oyster.
Well, let me ask you this: Will you send out your market model to owner operators, or will everything be company owned?
Well, again, it all depends. If we find the right partner, you know, if we get one of these big franchising operators that give us a multi-unit franchise or licensing agreement, then we'll go that route more so than we will individual locations. So it all depends on what we see, on what we get. But I can tell you that there has been a number of discussions with a number of parties to do multi-unit franchises across the planet. So hopefully, as we get the funding in place, that will all trickle in.
My guest today is Joey Parsi. He is the CEO of Giggles N Hugs. They trade on the OTC markets under the ticker symbol GIGL. Can you talk a little bit about you bringing on somebody else new, Michelle Steinberg? What is going to be her role?
Yeah, so Michelle has been an incredible get for us. Michelle from Domain and Kiddos is one of the most elite top PR people in the country. Her corporate client list or roster is some of the biggest companies in the world. You know, companies like Chrysler and Toyota and De Beers and the likes. Just review the Michelle Steinberg press release to get a full background on her. But she also is got clients in the elite world of Hollywood. Some of the biggest celebrities in the country are her clients. She has launched various product lines and clothing lines, you know, perfume lines for some of the biggest celebrities. Many of these celebrities, as you know, are in the business of making movies and not really in you know, business people.
Absolutely.
So what they do is they bring on people like Michelle to help them sort of brand themselves and come out with various products, again, whether it's a jewelry line, a clothing line, or a perfume line. You know, celebrities like Kim Kardashian or Nicole Richie or Jessica Simpson or Elton John are some of the names that I've heard associated with Michelle and being Michelle's clients. And so these people, when they launch a perfume line, they go to someone like Michelle, who sort of packages that whole thing, brings in the designers and brings in the distributors and manufacturers, and sort of packages it all for them and sort of hands it to them on a silver platter. And so our intention was to bring her into our team so that we can sort of look to the celebrities to not only invest in our company but also become our brand ambassadors and help us launch our various product lines, whether it's our frozen food line that you'll soon see in your local supermarkets, similar to what Cheesecake Factory did with their pizzas, or what Wolfgang Puck has done with their frozen pizzas that you can buy at your local supermarkets. These guys probably make more money from their frozen food line than they do from their actual physical restaurants. Why not go to your local supermarkets and pick up a Giggles N Hugs frozen meal, which has pureed vegetables, all organic, which is what we serve currently in our menus in our locations, and pick that up from your local supermarket. So that's one avenue that we're looking at. Kids' clothing line is another avenue. We think that we could, with our brand sort of becoming the it place in town, in Hollywood, why not come out with a clothing line, sort of the Giorgio Armani of clothing for children? And so that's another avenue that we're looking at. Toys, trinkets, anything kids related, baby bibs, strollers. We think we can put our name on it, and people will be very receptive to that. If I can give you an analogy, think what Oprah Winfrey recently did with Weight Watchers by investing in the company and becoming their brand ambassadors. I think everyone saw what can happen with the stock with something of that nature. So Michelle is helping us do exactly that. Michelle has put us in front of some of the biggest celebrities. We've had multiple discussions with some of the top celebrities in the country, and hopefully soon you'll hear some news in that regard. What I want people to get away with this call is that we are not just sitting on our butts here, but we're doing a lot of work in the background. But until and unless we can finalize some of these initiatives, I don't want to put anything out there.
Joey, I want to thank you for coming on the show today. Our guest is Joey Parsi. He is the CEO of Giggles N Hugs. They trade on the OTC market under the ticker symbol GIGL. We're going to be speaking with you in a month or two to see how things are going. Again, in closing, if we didn't get to it, you got like 30 seconds. You can bring us out.
Nothing specific that I want to get into. I think that 2017 is going to be an extraordinarily exciting time for Giggles N Hugs. I know a lot of shareholders who've owned our shares for a while are upset. Our stock has gotten decimated. We think the valuation of the company currently is extremely low. To put it in perspective, we got over $6 million that we've raised over the past few years to get us to this point. And with the market cap of the company right now at less than $1 million today, I think that there is tremendous opportunities on the upside. Now, it all depends on how we execute and when and how we secure the capital for our expansion. But again, what I want everyone to get away with here today is that we are not sitting on our butts. We are working very hard in the background to secure funding, to secure additional locations, and to ultimately bring in some very high-profile celebrities to get our message and our story out to the world, so that people can see us, sort of flex our muscles. So, stay tuned. I'm very hopeful for 2017 and beyond.
Thank you for coming on the show, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Thank you very much, Everett. Appreciate you guys having me on the show.
The following program is entirely sponsored and produced by Uptick Newswire LLC, which is responsible for the following content. The opinions and information provided on today's show are those of the guests and of those of the respective companies they represent, and does not necessarily reflect those of the staff or management of this station. Uptick Network encourages all listeners of the show to do their own due diligence and research when determining investment strategies that'll work for them, or to seek the assistance of an investment professional. The guests of today's show may have paid to appear on the show and are not directly affiliated with